All right, it's 7 o'clock. I want to welcome everybody. It's Veterans Day. It's appropriate that we would be here serving the constituents. It's this important time that we represent our veterans. And I wanted to point attention, if you didn't see it, the lighting looks fantastic on the courthouse in green to represent our veterans. So thank you for that. Thank you for everyone that served. If you'll stand, we'll be led in prayer by our parliamentarian, John T. Bobo. All right, if you'll join me in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The meeting will now officially be opened by the Sheriff Austin Swing.
Hear ye, hear ye. The Bedford County Board of Commissioners is now in session. The Honorable Mayor, Chad Graham, is presiding.
Thank you, Miss. Again, we want to thank everybody that's in the audience for coming out on this holiday. First item would be approval of the County Commission meeting minutes from October 14th.
Move to approve.
Sorry, if we could, I missed roll call somewhere.
Commissioner Anderson?
Here.
Commissioner Boutwell?
Here.
Commissioner Boyette?
Here.
Commissioner Brothers?
Here.
Commissioner Davis?
Here.
Commissioner Epperson? Commissioner Farrer?
Here.
Commissioner Hooker?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Maddox?
Here.
Commissioner Neely?
Here.
Commissioner Pinson?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Adam Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Mark Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Commissioner Vick? Commissioner Yockey?
Here.
17 present, 1 absent.
All right, sorry about that. First item then is approval of the commission meeting minutes from October 14, 2025.
Move to approve.
Okay, we got it. Now, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, then we're moving on. Public comment. I noticed there was a couple names out there. If you'll just, even if you didn't get your name wrote down, if you'll stand up or raise your hand and come up to the microphone, whichever one first will be fine. The microphone, they don't have to push a button. They just need to pick it up and talk with it, right? The other one is messed up. So, yeah, we should be able to hear you. If you'll state your name and what you want to talk about.
Okay, Stephen Jordan. I want to talk about the Centralized Wastewater Authority Board. I got a list here of the proposed members. This should be right. Alan Gill, the chairman. Lynn Kasicki, if I'm pronouncing that right, the attorney. Den Hastings, retired developer. John Boutwell, Rules Committee. Keith Davis, Property Committee. Casey Kesserling, Finance and Banking. Samuel Coates, Soil Conservation. I'll read a couple of other things too. There is no local program in counties with no established local management program. The cost burden falls directly on the individual property owners, not the general taxpayer. In these cases, the EPA and the USDA offer financial aid to homeowners who meet certain income or location requirements and criteria. Any costs for taxpayers are generated at the county and local level, typically result from the one of the following scenarios. Loans and bonds. If a county takes out low interest loan from a state CWSRF program or issues bonds to fund a septic management program, taxpayers may cover the cost of debt repayment. Local fees and taxes. A county could choose to establish a decentralized wastewater management district to oversee and maintain septic systems similar to a public water utility. These programs are funded through local revenue, such as fees or taxes levied on systems owners. Now, you know, I've been here since 2001. I have seen 4, tax hikes, property tax hikes, just in about 6 years. There's no way that I believe that this is not going to end up being a tax increase again. I mean, somebody's got to pay for it. So, another thing that I feel like is this shouldn't be is because that's not what the real people want. And I think that Commissioner Yaki, who put this up forward, was very well put together, but I don't think that it has the interest of Bedford County residents. I think it has dollar signs. And personally, I feel like she should be voted out of her position and someone replace her, as well as Commissioner Dollar Store, those people who go there, Vic. And I just don't see that this can be of a benefit. And who's going to pay for it? That's another question I have. And then we have the Tennessee Downs, which I think that has something to do with here. Then we have an acid battery plant that's out there just outside the city that, I'd like to know what kind of resources that they have to use to operate. I think a lot of the county residents would like to know that as well. They have a $400,000 tax exemption on property taxes. And they also have no Bedford County employees.
Okay.
And there's no benefit. And Davidson County didn't want them.
Okay, sir, let me zero you back in. Once your time is up, but talking about centralized where am I at here? Decentralized Water Advisory Board, not an authority, okay?
Well, but that's
okay,
a foot in the door, and that's
Okay,
eventually what it's going to be.
Thank you, sir. Next person, please. Thank you. All right. Yes, ma'am. If you will state your name and what you want us to refer to. If you could use the mic.
Is this good? Okay. Good evening. My name is Lee Kelly, and I'm here to advocate for the formation of a wastewater advisory committee. Bedford County needs to have a wastewater advisory committee because if we don't take control of the coordination of wastewater treatment, somebody at the state or the federal level will, and we'll get what they push down on us and not what we want. So we don't have the infrastructure here to support growth, but we need growth. Growth is coming. It's going to happen whether we want it or not, and this infrastructure is going to be determined by somebody else if it's not us. So we can either manage it ourselves or live with what they push on us. So we need to ensure that all higher density development occurs along 4-lane highways and not 2-lane blacktop that can't handle the traffic. And in order to have higher density development, we need to have provisions in place for wastewater management, including sewers if it comes to that. So we need to protect our Duck River from poor quality water that's released into it, and that can happen if you have too many people putting in septic tanks that can get into the groundwater and eventually make its way into the Duck River. So we need to have a vision that will provide for the needs of the entire county, not just a few local spots, not just City of Shelbyville or Wartrace or Bell Buckle or Unionville, because as these places grow, their borders are going to start encroaching on each other, and you're going to have different people managing land that is right next to each other. So we need a unified system, and for this reason, I think that we need to have a wastewater advisory committee or advisory board or whatever name you choose for it that will consult with knowledgeable experts to find the best possible solutions to this looming problem. It may not happen this year or next year or even in 5 years, but it's coming, and it's going to affect the young people of this county who are increasingly unable to afford to buy homes because they're being priced out of the market by the density needs of lot sizes to provide perk for septic tanks. So please consider forming a committee to consult with experts to find the best possible solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else that wanted to speak regarding the establishment of decentralized wastewater system advisory board? Yes, sir, if you'll come forward and state your name.
Mr. Mayor, Dr. Casey Kesselring.
Can you pick up the mic?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, this one, sorry, the other one.
So I'm apparently on the list of consideration for the advisory board. I had the blessing under a curse, however you might view it, of running an institution that had a wastewater plant, package plant, that had to be managed and licensed. It can be a complex process, but I think this step is about planning. The county often takes criticism for not planning, for not having a strategy, for not having a vision, for not having answers and solutions to problems. This is a step in that process to plan, to research, to educate, and then only to recommend. It's my understanding, and agreeing to serve on this board if approved, is we have no authority. We are there to learn and to educate and then to provide information to the Planning Commission. And to me, that's a prudent step for the county and for every commissioner here to be able to know and understand what the options are. Whether you choose to exercise any of them or not is entirely up to the Planning Commission. This is just an exercise in learning and planning. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would want to speak regarding, it can be any item on the agenda, by the way, but this is an item that's popular at the moment. Okay. All right, hearing none, seeing none, we'll move on. If I can get my order correct here. Next item is election of notaries. All right, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, because of the typical order of the agenda places appointments each month, whether we have any or not in this particular place, it would be my recommendation that we defer putting any of these names forward till we see what the action will be of this body under Rules and Legislative Committee of actually establishing this board. Is that acceptable to defer till we get to that point? Okay. All right, we'll move on. The next item is resolutions. There was no presentations tonight. Resolution 2614 involving the flock cameras. I believe it was Commissioner Neely had pointed out there was a typo. We made that correction to the official document. It should be on your desk. And that would be certainly what we're asking you to consider approving tonight. And Diane, is there anything else you want to say about that? Did I misquote that? Okay. All right. So is there, we had already approved the purchase and the action. This document's necessary for the flock system to actually be, I guess, deployed here.
Move to approve.
Vote for discussion, Commissioner Hooker.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, prior to the meeting, I went up to ask the sheriff about a couple questions that some of my constituents have. Unfortunately, Chief Deputy Nakia Elliott is the expert for the Sheriff's Department. He was unable to be here due to a Veterans Day event. I've received numerous calls, not necessarily in opposition, but more importantly, just trying to gain and gather information about AI storage, where the information goes, what happens if they're ever acquired down the road from a larger conglomerate, lots of different questions, more importantly about just the personal information and how it's handled. And unfortunately, I'm not able to get a lot of those questions answered. And so tonight I'm going to abstain just from a simple fact of I don't have enough information, and the people I needed to ask are not able to be here tonight. And so I just think it's something prudent that we need to ask, because there's a reason why why that we're having to do it under resolution. It's because obviously it's tied to a lot of sensitive information as well as tied to a lot of different things. And so just because of that, I have to personally do that just as representative of District 1. I'm not opposed to it, but again, I have to do the will of what District 1 asks, so.
Commissioner Maddox.
You know, I too, of course, Commissioner Hooker and I both serve the same district. And this is one of those times where we may have an opinion, or I may have an opinion on a certain issue, but ultimately, I'm required to do the will of the people. I've had the opportunity to speak to many folks in regards to these flock cameras. And although I can see the benefits, I can also see the hesitation. You know, and again, this is one of those times where my own opinion, it doesn't matter as much at all, but the will of the people is what I'm here to represent. And you know, it's sort of split right down the middle, but a lot of folks are still more against, but more so not necessarily against, but they have a lot of questions in regards to the system and the AI technology and how the cameras are able to assess this information, and more so how they utilize this information through other systems that may be integrated throughout the flock camera system overall. So I, as Commissioner Hooker, must abstain from this vote tonight because of the constituents and their concerns.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to comment? Okay, we have a motion second on the floor, so are you ready to vote? We'll do roll call. Okay, your name's called, vote for or against.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Boutwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyette,
Yes.
Commissioner Brothers,
Yes.
Commissioner Epperson,
Yes.
Commissioner Farrer, Commissioner Hooker,
Abstain.
Commissioner Maddox,
Abstain.
Commissioner Neely,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Adam Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Mark Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Vick,
Yes.
Commissioner Yaki.
Yes.
Does anyone wish to change your vote? 15 ayes, 2 pass.
All right, thank you. So the next item, and this was what we had public comment regarding, is from the Rules and Legislative Committee, establishment of a decentralized wastewater system advisory board. So this is step 1 of 2. Commissioner Anita Epperson.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we defer this and send it back to the Rules and Legislative Committee. The county zoning director is out of town, and I believe some people had questions for him. I believe the rules need to make a more clear motion of what they expect, and I would like to ask all the nominees whose name have been put forth that are interested in serving on the advisory committee to come to the Rules and Legislative and speak to their credentials for being on the committee. And then the names can be put forth and be voted on by everyone that's interested to get on the committee. That way we have a committee of 7 people. The most important thing we're trying to do is to have stronger rules than the state, and for everyone to have the same set of rules to follow. So I just want to make sure that we get that set up properly and that we have all the right people on the right seats.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to defer it for 1 month, going back to the Rules and Legislative Committee. Okay. Motion second on the floor is to defer it. When your name's called, vote for or against.
Commissioner Yaki,
No.
Commissioner Vick,
No.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Mark Thomas,
No.
Commissioner Adam Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
No.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinson, Commissioner Neely,
Yes.
Commissioner Maddox,
Yes.
Commissioner Hooker,
Yes.
Commissioner Farrer, Commissioner Epperson,
Yes.
Commissioner Brothers,
No.
Commissioner Boyette,
Yes.
Commissioner Boutwell,
No.
Commissioner Anderson,
No.
9 ayes, 8 noes.
Okay, so that motion fails. All right, so
9 yes to send it, to defer it.
takes 10 yeses. So is there a motion to approve it? Okay, motion is second to approve it. Now, this would be forming the committee, not the names yet. Everybody understand that? Okay. Is there any comments before we vote on that? Commissioner Neely?
I have attended the planning meeting since this request was put forth. I've also been to the committee and whatever. And it seems almost as if the scope of the committee is changing again just a little bit. When this was initially started, even 6 months ago, the intent of the committee was to strengthen the regulations that we have for decentralized wastewater systems and to talk to people who are in the business, in the professionals, and the state level that we heard from to strengthen this, to make sure that we're doing the right things for the community. Then at the last planning meeting, what I was hearing about the committee was, well, they're going to review the people who want to submit, the developers, what their plans are and all those kind of things. Well, those weren't the things that we talked about, but that's what was stated. I will say here, I think it is time, and I put this request into the mayor, and I'm going to alert all of the rest of you. I have put in a request that from now on, the planning meetings be live streamed so that everyone can see those. I think it's time that we do that so the public understands better. I think there's a great deal of confusion. I will support doing an advisory committee, but it's like the goal keeps moving. We don't have a clearly defined set of goals, really. We don't have guidelines that are going to be used to determine what this committee is actually going to do. All we know is we're going to put this group of people on it. There were people who submitted names that were not even considered. I don't know where all the names came from. This is not anything against anybody personally. Those names were put forth. But I'm just not sure that we're going in the direction that we all intended. We have to do something, and I get that. But I am now, again, uncomfortable with what is being put forward. And I would like to see us slow this down again and make sure that we are putting the right people on here. I have nothing against these people, but I'm not sure that developers and real estate people and all those are the very ones. We were told by the gentleman who spoke to us from the Tennessee Department of whatever, the night of our meeting we had to go over this, that the reason the state will not increase their regulations is because of all the pushback from developers and those people who have a vested interest. I see that happening here. Everybody wants to do their own thing. Everybody wants to serve their own interest. It is our job to protect our community. The one thing overwhelmingly that I continue to hear from people from across every district, we are growing too fast. We do not have the infrastructure for what is coming here. It's hodgepodging along. We're not ready. And the only way we're going to be ready is for us to have the guts to stand up and to start saying no, and to start making our rules, and everybody plays by the same rules. And I don't see us doing that. I really don't. And it's hard to look at those people who are your friends, your family, your business connections, and all of those, and get sucked in to everything that's going on. Like I said, I have nothing against anybody whose name has been put forward, but I really don't think that we are entrenched in the vision that we need to have to look at what it is we need to do. That's why I felt like it needed to go back to rules and legislative. We need a little more clear definition. I'm sorry, and maybe I misread it, but from what I heard in the first planning meeting when Linda brought it up to what I heard in the last planning meeting at the end of October are almost different ideals. And that's why I cannot support moving forward on this right now. And I would implore all of you to listen. You know, when you drive on our streets in Bedford County, we don't have space. Our roads are a disaster. Things keep happening, and I won't bring out what it is, but we've all received an email where a road that was just paved is being torn all to pieces by big trucks. We've already been told it's over $100,000 to pave 1 mile of road, and we are allowing those roads to be tore up because we are not enforcing our own rules. It's time for that to stop.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Is Mr. Gill in the audience? Would the commission like to hear from him, who's named as going to be the chairman of this study committee? Would he like to explain to the committee and the commission what it is he sees the role of being?
Take the commission agreeing to let him speak. Are y'all okay with allowing him to speak?
Fine, but I would like to hear from everybody that's going to be on here. I'd like to hear them all speak.
Okay. Is there objection to asking Mr. Gill to come to the mic? Okay. Mr. Gill, if you're willing to do that. If you pick up the mic.
Shoot. Okay, all right. Any questions?
Commissioner Neely, you want to ask him something direct?
Let me just, I can say that, you know, I've been on the planning commission ever since it began. Was it 1988? I think is what it was. But you know, this decentralized wastewater is a pretty new thing, and we've had a few of them brought before us, and all our information we ever get is from, you know, from the developer and whoever they're doing their wastewater things, and then, you know, we're shooting from the hip a lot of times. We don't know, so I think this committee or board that is going to be set up. I mean, who's on it, who they get, you know, it's completely up to y'all. I didn't pick. I didn't ask to be on this, and I didn't have anything to do with picking the ones that were on there. But and that could be changed, the way I understand, after a year. And I think the first year is going to be mainly planning, you know, getting seeing what we need to do, maybe interviewing professionals that have done, you know, these systems, and we have community just north of us that have been real successful with it, and myself, I don't know anybody that's involved in it, but I'm sure that it's an easy contact to find out, and the very first one that would come before us, that's where I would go, or whoever they may refer, or whoever we can get that would educate us on what we need to do that protects the county. You know, I'm just as, you know, frightened of wastewater as anybody, but the technology and these systems are, I think, way ahead of what they were when we first began. But again, I don't know. I think what we'll do first probably is you know, have our meeting, whoever you pick today, or, you know, 6 months from now, and then set up a set of bylaws, and then, you know, see what our mission may be, what we need to do, and then again, it's like the fellow said a while ago, is we're advisory to the planning commission, and then actually the planning commission, you know, recommends to y'all. So really, you have the final decision anyway. You know, whoever may come. I mean, it may we could recommend to do it, and then planning commission could recommend to do it, and you could turn it down just because you don't feel comfortable with, you know, with the wastewater system. You have that option. So that's the way I see it.
All right, Commissioner Anderson.
Alan, here's where I'm at on this. The state standards, we all know, are too low. The only way we're going to get a higher standard is to do something. So if we just sit here and don't do anything, the state, and I think the county attorney could speak to this as well. If we don't do this, we're stuck with the state standard. John T., is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I mean, the state they don't want to touch, they want to get away from it as much as anybody. But I think that's what this board would hopefully do. I mean, if anything, you know, hopefully, I think why maybe I've considered, I got a little bit of common sense. So I think if hopefully if somebody brought something that didn't pass the smell test, that we would, we'd turn it down. And I hope the people that on this board would feel the same way as I do, that it has to be, we have to feel, I think these systems are good. I think they've been proven. I mean, it'd be better if we could go back to I've heard before, one septic tank for 1 acre, but that's not realistic. I mean, I think it's moving this way, and from the north and from the northwest, if they come, we want to be prepared. We want to have, and hopefully this advisory board will, have the data, have the correct information to make recommendations, and then the planning commission can, hopefully they'd be better informed, because all we used to have is whatever the developer would bring. They'd bring their own, wastewater person, and then that's all we had.
Commissioner Anderson, and then I'll get you, Anita.
Okay. The thing I'm saying here too about the higher standard is let's look at the failures, y'all. Right now, they've got a company in Mount Juliet that's got a bunch of failures and a problem. And a gentleman from the health department alerted me to one over in Manchester, 280 houses. That's why this standard needs to be higher. I'm scared to death of failures. And if y'all make the standard higher, it's going to be better for all of us. But we're not in that situation Mount Juliet's in or Manchester right now.
I understand there's some failures, but it's all about maintenance with them.
Yeah, install correctly and maintenance, and I think that's where the focus is.
It's all about maintenance. I think, way I understand some of those failures where it was a lack of maintenance. And any utility that we pick would have to have a track record. That'd be my, first thing. If they don't have a track record or a utility that would take it over, we don't need it anyway.
Commissioner Epperson.
On the subdivision of the stuff that comes before planning, does everything come back to the commission, or only if it's rezoned? Because we don't get everything from you guys, do we?
Now say that again. Say it again.
Like if it's when they do this decentralized wastewater, that if it's not like rezoned or come back for a subdivision, does that come before us, or does that just stay in planning?
Well, I mean, the recommendation would come in front of the planning commission. We would advise the planning commission, and then they would either accept it, the whole subdivision, if it's to be a subdivision, and that's part of the acceptance. Like the roads, and then the size of the lots and everything that we put in it, and then the whole package would be approved by the planning commission. And then they would recommend or give an unfavorable recommendation to y'all, and then y'all can decide whether to do it or not do it.
Yeah, I think Linda can clean that up, but the Planning Commission has regulations, parameters that have been approved by the commission, but if it's in the regulations, then they take the action. If it's a zoning issue, though, it has to come back to the commission. Can you clarify, Linda?
If it's a rezoning issue, it comes to this board. With this Review and Technical Advisory Board, in my head, they would report their findings, review what the developer has put forth, make sure the homeowner association's in place, make sure the utility district that the developer wants to hire is of our specifications. And when all that gets done, then the planning commission is told that the final plat is ready to go and can be signed and finalized. Where a lot of this feeds out of, as far as the homeowner association and so forth and so on, comes through the subdivision regs. And so, and those subdivision regs are internal within the planning commission. So, but I think, and Diane can correct me, as we move through with this review and technical advisory board, I would like to see, and somebody on the planning commission can make the motion, that this body, approves those duties. I think, do you remember me saying that as we went through? So that you all do have some input into it, but this board is nothing more than a review and advisory board. But if you all want to know all the little bitty duties and so forth, convey it to one of the members of the planning commission and we'll, bring it back up here. But as far as what you were asking, only rezoning comes back to this board.
Thought.
Commissioner Neely.
I think we're making this much harder than it has to be. When this was envisioned, or what I understood, we just needed a group of people who would gather the information that would increase the regulations that we have in Bedford County to strengthen those so we don't end up in a mess. Now we're creating another advisory board, and he is speaking to, we're going to do bylaws and we're going to do all these things. We don't need all of that. We just need a group of people that will do the research, come back to planning and say, okay, the state or whoever, whenever they look at this developer's plot and he says, you need 2 acres for this field line to go into, then our regulation should say, we require 4 times or 3 times or 10 times, whatever they say. We have an approved list of companies that will oversee the wastewater, all of the things that go with it, the inspections, the installation, and we review that list every year. That's what I envisioned. But now in the last planning meeting and what Linda just said, it's branching off into, well, we're going to do some of that, but every time that somebody comes with a plan, this advisory committee is going to look at the plan and they're going to decide and they're going to do this and they're going to look at that. Then they're going to send it to planning. I think planning could do that if a group of people set the regulations to the level that they need to be. We put that in the regulation guidebook that we have. When somebody comes into planning and they lay their plot down, then planning has the tools right there to do what they need to do. We don't need 10 committees and advisories or whatever. They've already got it in the toolbox. Then the people in code's office or whatever are tasked with enforcing with whatever the planning had said. I think we're putting way too many steps and we're making this much harder than it has to be. I believe we can get there in a much straighter line if we try.
I agree.
Okay, so are you making a motion for a different approach?
Honestly, I haven't thought that far right this second because I'm trying to keep my brain on what we're all saying and doing. But yes, I would amend this to say that we need to have some type of guideline. I don't know what the motion needs to be. Another thing that came out was that Chris was going to write guidelines for this committee. Well, is he writing them or is he not? He's not here. He can't tell us. I think we're just in another convoluted discussion of mess.
And for my understanding, Chris is too busy.
Okay, well, he's out of town at the moment. Commissioner Maddox.
Yeah, I think Commissioner Neely has really outlined it well, and for what it's worth, I want to give some kudos to Commissioner Davis. I mean, he's nominated for the committee, but yet he has what I feel common sense enough to say, hey, let's pause for a minute. But, there's a couple of things that I just want to point out, right? There are a couple of facts I want to point out. One has really not a whole lot to do but with this exact issue, but back in March, Resolution 2514 was proposed to authorize seeking the passage of a private act by the Tennessee General Assembly to create Bedford County Wastewater Authority. That's not what we're doing here. I get it. But more facts would be And I had the opportunity to attend the Rules and Legislative Committee meeting on 10/21. Then I went back and watched the video a few times. And here are some of the things that came out of that meeting. So it was stated that this is to form a decentralized wastewater system board. Okay, check. That was part of the process. And then Commissioner Vick actually read from the Planning Commission, their verbiage, says to form a board through the County Commission to oversee alternative wastewater systems, who is putting in any alternative wastewater system to contract with the utility district that would operate that, end quote. And then he says, and to finalize a report and get back to the commission. Again, those were not Greg's words. Those were from the Planning Commission. Greg just read from the minutes. Later on in the meeting, it was stated that the duties and responsibilities of it were to be submitted to the Planning Commission, from the Planning Commission back to the Commission for approval. That's what Commissioner Yockey stated. Later in that meeting, Commissioner Yockey said, it was stated again, well, I'm going to go ahead and point this out as well. It was stated that she would also be a part of writing the responsibilities of that board. And, just to pause there for a moment, it just seems sort of counterproductive that we've got 2 commissioners that would be on this board as well as 2 people that are already on the Planning Commission. I mean, we're already kind of stacking the deck, so to speak. That's my opinion. Also, at the end of that meeting, it was stated that they would define the duties and responsibilities of the board first before anything else was done. So it was stated that night that that was going to be the case. I mean, I feel like, again, we're putting the cart before the horse. We're just kind of a shotgun approach. I mean, this is obviously a very important topic. And let me just state this for the record as well. I know for a fact that Bedford County is going to grow. I know that Bedford County is going to grow, but we as a governing body have to manage that growth in a way that all Bedford County citizens benefit from it. I know that we have developers that are chomping at the bits to develop. I know we have real estate agents that are chomping at the bits to sell real estate. But at the end of the day, we as commissioners have to abide by what the people that put us in office want us to do. And so I feel like that we need to halt. One thing that gave me a pain point too is that yesterday at 2:44 p.m., we received the list from the mayor's office of the folks that are going to serve on this committee. That didn't give me enough time to vet anybody. I actually know Mr. Gill. I think he's a wonderful man. But again, I haven't had the opportunity to talk to anyone else or even to Mr. Gill about this issue. So again, given just a little over 24 hours to vet these folks, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And then, as I stated at the committee that night, I feel like that these folks have to be highly qualified if we're even going to do a board. But, to Commissioner Neely's point, I feel like we just need to allow the Planning Commission to do their job. If we want to have someone, a group of people step in and give them some advice, then that's fine. But again, this thing hasn't even been defined the way it's supposed to, and we're already talking about forming it up. It just didn't make sense to me. Thank you.
Commissioner Hooker.
All I keep hearing is we don't have a plan. We don't have any really true guidelines. We've not really set out what the actual qualifications of each of the different people. We basically just kind of got a list 24 hours ago. And the unfortunate part is I'm not surprised. This is how it's been since I've been on the commission. It's how it's been for the last 7 years of we find out 24 hours ahead of time and we are supposed to come in here and rubber stamp this thing. The problem is I tried to do the very thing that Commissioner Neely said, put together a task force to investigate this, put some experts together to bring some recommendations to this board to turn around and hand it off to planning. Well, guess what? This board was like, oh no, because it came from me, because I was the one who put together the town hall to bring all you together, to bring the experts in here, and heaven forbid you got to see the truth that night. The thing is these systems are very temperamental in a sense that if they are not managed correctly, then they have issues. Well, unfortunately, we have, as we do in every profession, we have really good developers, we have not so good developers. And so the unfortunate part is this plan has come in front of you and you let it go by. The problem is you talk about it being too complicated. Welcome to Bedford County. It's what we do. We put layer upon layer upon layer, and we don't just simply do what we really need to do, which is lay out what we want. We identify what the state rules are. We find out where we want to target that's going to protect our county. Is it the size of the leach field? Is it the different types of processes that they use? Is it one system over another? Is it a type of one type of authority over the other to be able to regulate these? Are we going to make them have a bond? Are we going to go through a homeowners association? What happens if that homeowners association fails? The reason why is I did a ton of research on this particular subject, talked to a lot of different experts on this, and unfortunately, all 18 of us, none of us are experts on this particular subject. And so the thing is we're up here putting together a list that was provided for us 24 hours a day, or 24 hours ago by our mayor. And the unfortunate part is we're fixing go to a vote to where we're rubber stamping if we approve this. We're basically saying, Chad Graham, our mayor, who set forth this board, because obviously that's where we got this from. The Planning Commission, yes, we sent it back to them to put together this very group to have this conversation. And it came back as another layer of bureaucracy in this whole process. And again, I'm not opposed to the board. We've got to do something. I'm in agreement with Commissioner Anderson that we need to do something. The problem is, though, is we have a planning commission. Half this board, as Commissioner Maddox said, is 2 commissioners and 2 from the planning commission. This group is actually reporting back to theirself ultimately. The majority of this board is already in the process. So the thing is what I get back to is common sense. Commissioner Neely has a great plan. Take this group of these 7, add to it with some professionals that are, we had John Freeman in here. We had lots of different people who actually know about this. I believe these 7 people, as I've talked to people as much as I could over 24 hours, all of them bring a lot of different aspects that are very positive to this conversation. But again, I don't think we just need another board. I think what we need to do is let this group get together with some other experts and come together with what the plans need to be to go to Planning Commission to do this. But as we normally do in Bedford County, we try to make it overly complicated and political. And the unfortunate part is it doesn't have to be. This could have been a group effort. We could have worked it through the committees. We could have worked with Planning Commission to say, hey, who do you think are experts? But at the end of the day, we got to create another board, and so we'll see how it goes. But again, I just want to caution you because all these different issues that we have don't have to be this controversial. I didn't receive one phone call from anybody on the Planning Commission, didn't receive a phone call from the mayor to say, hey, you did all this research, you had this idea several months ago, what do you think about it? Well, I've been a commissioner for 3.5 years and still have not yet received a phone call from our mayor on anything that we have gone over on this commission floor. And I think that's just a little shocking, especially since there's one of the members on this was appointed from my committee that I'm chairman of, and I didn't even know it until I got the email 24 hours a day. So again, just same old, same old.
Anybody else want to make a comment before you vote? The motion on the floor was to form it. I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner
Yeah, I want
Belmont.
to make some comment. First off, I'd like to say Diane made an eloquent speech, and I really agree with a lot of what you said. It was straightforward and good. My concern is that, 6 months ago, we had our town hall here one Friday night, and we keep talking these things, but we, for some reason, never can really get anything moving forward. And I'm afraid if we stall now, we'll just continue. So we get a board, whether you want me on the board or not, it doesn't matter. But we get a board, and they can report back to us. I think the board will adapt. To me, the first thing to do is learn about wastewater systems, get the information. We'll have some experts on the board, and go out and seek information from Rutherford County and Williamson County or wherever. And then from that, we need to establish some standards that are greater than what the state has. Because the state told us that, half of these systems have got issues and about a quarter of them fail. So we got to do something. And if we just keep on and on and on, and, we got 18 people on this commission, We got all kinds of different personalities, all kinds of viewpoints. We'll never align the stars just right. So we just got to go forward and do something. Or we're going to be disappointing some people down the road when they go out and spend a lot of money to build a house. Then maybe 5 years down the road in their backyard is raw sewage. And the next thing you know, that sewage is leaking into the creeks and the river and causing some additional problems. So it's just something that needs to be taken care of, and we just need to just move forward.
Commissioner Anderson.
I agree 100% with Diane Neely. That was wonderful and passionate. Thank you. Mr. Boutwell, I agree with you as well. We got to do something, though, guys. This is a board for 1 year. It's not permanent. It's not a bureaucracy. It's only going to be for a year. Am I not correct? That's all we're doing is a board for 1 year to try it. And I'm ready to vote.
Commissioner Davis, and then I'll get you.
I'm the elephant in the room because I'm the one that's on Drew's property committee. I didn't ask to do this, but I'm a servant, and I've made several inquiries about this, and we've got a problem, guys. We know we have a problem, and I'm a little bit, and Anita, I think some of you may speculate that I'm on the other side completely for this. I'm actually against it because I've got a personal family member that's got a failed system right now in Murfreesboro that was part of an HOA. The HOA depleted. They're spending $20,000 right now to repair this. I don't want none of my citizens, none of my friends here to have to deal with that. We've got to set a guideline. And that's where we are. This is not about a competition. We need experts. We need people with common sense. God bless me with common sense and ability to listen to you guys. And let me reiterate why I voted a minute ago the way I did. And Chris White is not here. God bless him. He's out of the country. I don't feel sorry for him. But I know the people are out here that had some questions that I can't answer, that these guys can't answer. No one here can answer except for Chris White. Chris is great at what he does. But I wanted Chris to answer these questions, and he's not. So it needed to be deferred until Chris can answer these questions. I encourage every one of us to send an email with your questions. And even you guys that are listening right now on the air, send a question to Chris White, and copy us, copy me. I want to know the answers to these as well. I'm concerned, and Diane, absolutely. It was eloquent. I appreciate everything you said, and I agree with you. I don't want growth, but it's coming, and we have no choice, and we better get used to it. I missed the 2-lane street on Madison Street when I grew up. Guess what? We're not there anymore, guys. It's coming. We better prepare, and I believe this is the way to do it.
Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to say? The motion on the floor is to form this board. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Fair.
My hand up is somewhat redundant, but it seems like we've got two issues here. I think we're not forming a board. That bothers me. We're not forming another board. It's an advisory committee. So that's a little different than a board. And the way I look at it, it's an advisory subcommittee, which reports to the planning. So we're not creating another board. It's an advisory committee, which I don't have a problem with that. As already been stated, I did. I said, I had one or two calls this morning. Of course, I hadn't checked my email. My wife does. And it's 2:44. I've got a problem, as Commissioner Hooker said, that the list wasn't submitted until yesterday at 2:44. That doesn't give much time for due diligence. The only question I had, and I don't suppose I'm supposed to know all 7 members, the banker and the attorney, I don't know at all. I'm like 1 or 2 or 3 of the others. I have trouble voting on things that I don't and haven't had time to even check on any of them. Not that it's that important or not, but I have trouble voting on even an advisory committee if I don't know anything at all about them. So that's a concern. And also, Again, it needs to be as transparent as it needs to be. It needs to be discussed, and we are in an open meeting. But I certainly agree with Commissioner Anderson. We need the advisory committee, and I don't have a problem with it at all. I do have a little problem with the composition, and I do have a problem with the guidelines. You know, what exactly are the duties going to be? So I got a problem with that. But I don't have any problem forming the committee. I do have a problem with accepting the slate. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Commissioner Boyette.
So this is just a 1 year, and at the end of this 1 year, do we determine whether this committee continues on?
I'm working off of the Planning Commission asked the Rules Committee to put this body together. The Rules Committee made the recommendation to send it here tonight to you as a board. I'm simply following the direction and what it was said, but it was my understanding it was to be 1 year. I think you can clarify that in your motion if you would like to. Anything that you want clarified, or if there is a remedy, if somebody wants to make an alternate motion to that, the floor is open. The vote has not happened yet. And as far as from my perspective, it's in your bylaws that the mayor or the executive branch, whichever way you feel more comfortable talking about it, puts names forward. The commission ratifies the names. I thought that I was doing good things by giving you names in advance versus just the night of the meeting under appointments to tell you the names that I was putting forward. Obviously, you know, there's a whole realm of folks and differences about that, and all that's great and fine. None of those things really matter at the end of the day. But I'm trying to follow your bylaws, and I'm simply following the process of the Rules Committee put it on the agenda, and that's how it's sitting here. If you want to amend that, or you want to send it back, which there was an attempt to send it back, which failed, then you're welcome to do that. So it's on the floor. It's yours to deal with. Make any motion or counter motion that you so wish before you vote. Commissioner Vick.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we made this appointment for 12 months. And so at the end of 12 months, that's everybody's expires. So we'd have to make a decision if we wanted to renew that on this commission. So it's a 12-month deal to see what we can figure out. And I agree with what everybody's saying. We don't need some big fancy thing. We just need somebody to review this for us and for the Planning Commission so that we have some technical opportunities there. And so it's not that complicated. I think we need to vote on this and let's move on.
Commissioner Anderson.
Mayor, you and I were in conversation, text messaging back and forth about a number of these people on this list were ones that I submitted to you. Number two, there was a few we might have liked to have had that flat turned us down. So you did your due diligence on this. I mean, I know you did because we were in agreement on a whole bunch of those names.
Somebody's going to egg your car. Commissioner Yonke.
Answering what Jason asked, I believe it was the April meeting of the Rules and Legislative Committee turned to the Planning Commission to come up with a proposal to deal with, and this is strictly the decentralized wastewater development systems that are going in. The Planning Commission looked at this, and going back through my head, there's a lot of particulars to this, above what I think anybody even on the Planning Commission knows. That's why we need some help. And the zoning office needs some help. It's going to take some time to review what the developer has sent in on these wastewaters, contract with not us contracting, but see who the developer contracts with, checking everything off on that. And then the little side to me, which is the most important after we get past all of this first part, is to make sure that we get records of maintenance and repairs, and that the utility districts let the Planning Commission know what's going on. And they would probably siphon through this, board because they have more expertise than we do. And whether it's a board or a committee, I think I have no objection to changing it to an advisory and technical advisory committee, board committee, it doesn't matter. The Planning Commission needs this board to move forward. Yes, we don't know what all they're going to do because we haven't started on all this, but we don't have the people to get us started. So for 1 year, the Planning Commission is asking this body to allow, 7 people to get us going, let us get into this, and then if you don't like it, get rid of everybody.
Commissioner Adam Thomas.
Call me an optimist. I believe everyone here has the best motivations for whatever they're wanting at the moment. I don't think there's anything nefarious or anything like that going on. The next 2 questions I have are just to put constituents' fears at bay. One of the big things I've seen is this advisory board committee is going to cost the taxpayers a lot of money. Can someone confirm that or deny, is this going to cost the taxpayers any money at all?
Commissioner Young.
Any cost will go back to the developer.
The next question is, does this committee board have the authority of eminent domain to seize any personal property? These are just questions that I have received that I just want to put out there for people's minds to be at ease.
It is not an authority. It has no authority. It is an advisory committee.
Correct. And we have seen that on Facebook like crazy. Commissioner Neely.
I'm going to go back to you, Linda. You just sit here and what you went through, what you're saying is, this committee is going to look at all the plans that the developer brings in and make determinations. That doesn't raise our standards.
If the standards are in the Planning Commission subdivision regs, yes. And we're not there yet. And so you ask about Chris writing the regs. We want to make sure that what we're doing and what we've got in the subdivision regs for this committee to look at is of major high standards. So we've got to do some research. We've got to go out there and see. So yes, yes.
I agree to the research, but that's not what I'm hearing you say. What I'm hearing you say is a developer is going to decide to do a development. They're going to bring it in, and this committee is going to look at it and decide as they're winnowing through what our upgrades are going to be. To me, they need to hit the ground running with talking to these people who have the knowledge to up our standards. That is the very first move. That is not what I'm hearing you say when you talk about this. That's not what I'm hearing. And I don't think that necessarily this advisory board is the one that needs to be looking at every developer's plan that brings them in. And if we start talking about bylaws and regulations and doing this and doing that, the whole year is gone and we've wasted an entire year yet again with no movement forward. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. What I would like to see this committee do immediately, if we form it, is reach out to the state, see what their rules and regulations are, look at what other counties that have been successful, and immediately put that forward. Not do all this song and dance with bylaws and this and that and looking at developers' plans. I don't care what the developer brings. I'm not interested in it until we know what we're going to do as a county to protect our citizens, our groundwater, our river, and our people from what's going on. We are being raped every day by developers coming in here and taking our land and bringing in stuff that we don't need. That's where I stand, that's how I feel, and that's what my constituents has told me.
I will say back to you, you're saying the same thing I'm saying. This board has got to get us, as the Planning Commission and the director, the information. First off, let's fix our subdivision regs, with all the information that this board can go out there and gather of the high standards we can have. That's the first thing. This thing about the developer, a developer decides they want to develop a piece of property. They bring in what's called a preliminary plat to the zoning office. Zoning office director or assistant looks at that plat, reviews it, sees where they are on everything, sees that everything's supposed to be like it's supposed to be, brings it to the Planning Commission for a preliminary plat approval. After that is done, the developer then submits a final plat. And at that final plat, there will be, that there is a SEP system or some sort of decentralized system going to be involved with all this. At that point, this committee with, I think by the time we get to there and the technical people that they will have reached out to can review that decentralized system that they are preparing, make sure that it meets our subdivision regs. It takes all this work off of Chris and this committee helps with making sure that the utility system that they're contracting with meets our specifications that have been written, haven't been written yet, but going to be written. But all of the writing and getting the stuff together has got to happen before anything can be done. And that's where I am on this committee. We need help on planning. We need these people to help us get the information, just like you're saying, written so that the next developer that brings something through, we have the criteria to monitor it and continue on monitoring it all the way down the road. Right now, they put them in, that's it.
Commissioner Hooker.
Yeah, first off, whenever I was speaking, none of that was directed toward anybody that is on this. This is absolutely a situation to where, we just want to make sure that this is the right way. And if this is the pathway that the Planning Commission want to do, I'd like to add an amendment, if the original motion will accept it, is that they come back with a plan for our decentralized wastewater system within this 12-month period. And that all the meetings that they meet be live streamed so that the community can see the process as they go through that.
Second.
As a sponsor of that, I have no problem with Commissioner Hooker's amendment on there.
Yeah, now when you said bring it back, you bring it back to the commission before it goes to planning, or after the planning commission takes it and adjusts the regs?
No, just a report back. It would go through planning, it would go through the proper procedures, but just that they come up with a plan for Bedford County for decentralized wastewater systems. Because again, it puts a timeline on them, and it also gives us a process that we go through, and the public can be able to see the whole process as it goes through.
Which was my understanding.
And Commissioner Hooker, that's what was promised at the beginning of all this.
Okay, so you accept that? Yes. Okay, and did you get the clarification? He's really clarifying. You're not really trying to change the motion. You're just wanting to add clarification to what you're voting on. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I just want to put it on record, and we put a timeline with it, so that way it's on record. Thank you.
And is the 1 year for the board members within that motion? I can't.
It was already declared that it was going to be they were going to be 1 year. These first members were 1 year, and then the commission can decide what they want to do after that. Anyway, that was notwithstanding his. Are you okay with that? Yeah, okay. And then Commissioner Thomas, and then I'll get you, Commissioner.
I think the confusion, maybe I'm misunderstanding Commissioner Neely and Commissioner Yaki. I think the question is there going to be set standards, or is it going to vary per developer? Like, okay, we like this developer, they're going to have this set of standards. I think was that the confusion? No, that wasn't it. Ignore what I said.
Let me catch Commissioner Maddox.
Okay, it sounds like we're going in a right direction here. So just to be clear, have we landed that this thing is going to be called an advisory committee or board? That's my first.
It's currently on the agenda as a board. If you want to amend that, that'd be fine.
I would certainly accept an amendment on there to call it an advisory board.
Committee.
Advisory committee.
Right. It came to you as a board. He is accepting that. Are you wanting to amend that to be committee instead of board?
After this question. So, second question is, will this advisory committee have any power whatsoever?
The only authority they will have is to make a recommendation to the Planning Commission. That is the only authority they have, is to make a recommendation and put together some rules so they can come back to us in 12 months when it expires.
So again, the commission would approve those rules, Commissioner Vick?
No, the commission would not approve the rules. The Planning Commission approves the rules, but they are informing us and letting us know what they are. That the option that we have, or the leverage that we have, is after 12 months, we don't reappoint the board or don't reactivate the board or sunset the board and the members.
I think, Mr. Chairman, my only concern at this point now, again, is, you know, the folks that are on this advisory committee, if they have the ability to make these suggestions and those suggestions would be adhered to by the planning committee, then that becomes law. I mean, the planning committee is the end-all be-all, so to speak,
For
right?
regulation, yes, but not zoning. Do you agree with that, Linda? Yeah, if they modify the regulation, then
But to Commissioner Maddox, you know, you go to these committees and they're open. You get to say whatever you want to say, and I know, whether it's rules or whether it's planning or whether it's ever, if a commissioner speaks or has an opinion, that is taken into effect. And if not agreed with, I hope you have a thing. But the Planning Commission, you know, they are a body within themselves, and unless they change the document itself, it doesn't come before this committee. But I see no problem with Commissioner Hooker's that these, whatever guidelines is more what I would call them, come to this committee, and you hash them out. If you don't like it, you speak verbally, and I believe with all my heart, then it is taken back.
you're talking about come to the commission with it through the Rules and Legislative Committee, debate them, review them, massage them, anoint them, whatever the term is, comes to the commission for an approval. Planning Commission, you're saying, will obviously want to honor what the commission wanted to see the regulation adjusted to be.
I think within reason, yes, unless there's, you know, statute or some particular for whatnot.
Which the
Because we're all
committee
in the-
hopefully will vet that out prior to, so the document's a lot closer to clean, but it may not be perfect. Brace yourself. Okay, did I miss somebody else that wanted to speak?
All the question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so let's make sure we're clear on the motion. The motion is to actually form this, we're going to call it committee instead of board, advisory committee. It was going to be advisory board, advisory committee, and then we're going to clarify that in 1 year they're going to bring, how did you say? Let me make sure, I want to make sure we got it right.
They'll bring decentralized wastewater recommendations, and a plan back to this group and planning to be able to vet that and work through that process.
Right, basically saying within 1 year, not at the end of 1 year. If they're done prior to then, we're moving on. Right, okay?
And this doesn't, this motion right here does not include approving the members.
No, this is separate. That's your
This
next
is just
big.
forming the board.
That's right. That's your, yeah, that's step one. Okay? Does everybody understand what you're voting on? Are you ready to vote? Okay, when your name's called, vote for or against.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Boutwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyette,
Yes.
Commissioner Brothers,
Yes.
Commissioner Everson,
Pass.
Commissioner Farrer,
Pass.
Commissioner Hooker,
Yes.
Commissioner Maddox,
Pass.
Commissioner Neely,
Pass.
Commissioner Pinson. Yes. Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Adam Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Mark Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Vick,
Yes.
Commissioner Yaki.
Yes.
Does anyone wish to change your vote? 13 ayes, 4 pass.
Okay, so the motion passes. So the advisory committee now exists. All right? Now, are you ready to go through putting people on this committee? Or do you want to wait till the very end? You ready to go in that? Well, it's fresh on your mind. All right, so as they commented earlier, I did go ahead and give you a heads up on the names that I was looking at and kind of the logic behind those names. I assume that at best you want to vote on them one at a time?
Well, anyone can make a nomination, now, Mayor, from the floor if they want to.
Well, in your bylaws, it says the mayor appoints and you ratify. Now, if you want to do something different, make you some other kind of motion.
Mr. Chairman, Rule number 8, Section A says, unless otherwise provided by general law, the county mayor shall appoint members of the county boards and county department heads, and it has to be confirmed by the Board of Commissioners. So the mayor makes the appointments.
Under your bylaws, yes.
Just clarification, and again, I don't care either way, but because this changed from a board to a committee, does that change our rule?
County attorney says no. Do you wish to challenge the county attorney's opinion? Yeah,
Mr.
would you
Chairman,
like to
I
do
make a motion, we approve the slate.
I second the motion.
Okay. So we got a motion and a second to accept the ones that I put forward. Let me read them off to you. Alan Gill, Lynn Kasicki, Denny Hastings, John Boutwell, Keith Davis, Casey Kesselring, and Samuel Coates. So now we have a motion and a second. We're open for discussion. Okay. No discussion. We're ready to vote. When your name's called, vote for or against.
Commissioner Yockey,
Yes.
Commissioner Vick,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Mark Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Adam Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinson, Commissioner Neely,
Pass.
Commissioner Maddox,
Pass.
Commissioner Hooker,
Yes.
Commissioner Farrer,
Pass.
Commissioner Epperson,
Pass.
Commissioner Brothers,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyette,
Yes.
Commissioner Boutwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Does anyone wish to change your vote? 13 ayes, 4 pass.
All right. So that's democracy at its best. Thank you for that. All right. Next, nothing to report under Public Safety or Courthouse and Property. Financial Management Committee, this is just your standard quarterly report. Financial quarter report. Somebody needs to make a motion.
Move to approve.
Second. All right, motion second. All right, well, for discussion. Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? All right. Next was, we had a fire truck surplus, and these proceeds would go back to the department associated with that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion second. We're open for discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Other business, which would need to suspend the rules if you have any other business. All right. Announcements. Thanksgiving, 27th and 28th, the office will be closed. Obviously, Thursday is Thanksgiving Day. Also, December the 5th, and there should be something circulating in an email and on Facebook, if it's not already, for December the 5th to have Christmas up on the square as we did last year. We're expecting to be able to do all the wonderful things that we did and hopefully and some. But it was a great event. Other announcements? Yes, sir, Commissioner Hooker.
Yeah, late last week, Vanderbilt Life Flight lost a helicopter and did have a fatality of one of their members. They've had an impeccable safety record, and just our hearts and prayers go out to the entire Vanderbilt team and the EMS community in the area that worked very closely with these individuals.
Absolutely, and I saw that. Commissioner Mark Thomas.
Just to kind of fill you in on the planning for the public safety for the Christmas on the Square, it was talked about that the square road access will be shut down at 2 o'clock that day instead of lunchtime. So anybody that needs to make adjustments on the square, and then that following Saturday is our regular Christmas parade on the square as well. So all of our trucking industry and people who want to cross the town, you know, it kind of shuts the town down on Christmas parade day, just being mindful of that.
Right, and I appreciate you reminding me, yeah, the Christmas parade is the 6th, right, the next day. And that starts at what time? 4 o'clock in the afternoon, all right? And the Christmas on the Square is 4 to 7. Does that sound right, Linda? Yeah, okay. Commissioner Davis.
Linda, this may be directed to you. I know there was an issue with handicap parking. Did that get resolved? Okay, where is that?
Excuse me, I haven't asked the city if we can do it, but their little parking area behind, right here on the corner, US Bank, the 2 parking lots, and volunteers will be there. To get into the back of US Bank, you've either got to be a Methodist or a US Bank customer. So,
All right. What about other announcements or anything I missed? Anything need to be said before we adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.